5 should be off too. That's this one.
This one. Where's 5? Right here. There it is. Hey guys, welcome to. Are we on the show before the show now?
Yeah, we are. We're on.
We are on.
We are on the show before the show.
Hey Joe, was there a taping last night? Did we do a taping last night? Did we do a taping last night? No, I'm talking to you. Okay, I'm sorry. Did we do a taping last night?
No.
Okay.
No, it was Monday.
Hey, by the way, that's I had the last 2 pieces of gum yesterday, so I brought a brand new one.
Okay, thank you.
I'll always keep that.
Okay. Hey man, I'm glad you're enjoying them.
Not anymore.
Leave them there for
Not anymore. Not after I saw how much they were.
Oh yeah, they're
Gum's freaking expensive.
Gum is, and I love
I had no
gum,
idea.
and I haven't been chewing gum as much either because it is. It's outlandish.
I'm like, truck.
I know it's not 50 cents anymore, Vic.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. It's not like I have disposable income. I chewed his gum.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna get you new gum. So I started chewing gum. I've never chewed gum. I mean, ever.
And you
But it
now
was sitting
started
at the desk.
Yeah. Okay. I love gum.
Because I'm a very nervous, frantic person.
I just like to chew it. I just like to chomp it, and it's really a bad
So
habit.
I replaced
Actually,
his gum. The gum container.
yeah.
It was like over $5. I literally asked. I was like, $5 for gum.
Yeah, that's crazy. Some gum is $5.
I could drink 5 Bud Lights.
You could. You could. You could. You could get Bud Light for free.
Is there a delay or a reverb on our stuff?
On YouTube. It was on YouTube.
Is that fixed?
Yeah, they say there's an echo on YouTube.
Angie, Les, Lizzie, Derek, no cornhole this morning.
I know gum is bad, but I like it.
It's freaking expensive.
I think about it.
That's all right. My gum days are done. Pro Joe, could you help a brother out? Can I get a pen, please?
Help a brother out. Looks like YouTube is fine now. People are not hearing themselves anymore.
Okay, that's why Stephanie said it too. I had no idea because I'm not a gum chewer.
Yeah, no, it's really expensive.
But
I am a gum chewer, and I'm not doing it.
Seriously, for truck.
Yeah, the only time you can get affordable gum is at Aldi.
Thank you. I'll try not to break this one.
That's the last one, bud.
I've only broke one.
All the rest of them are broke. I don't know how they got broke.
No, this was the one I broke.
Broke it.
I don't know how you do it.
I know. I bring my own pens, but man, it's easy to walk off with a pen. That's why people put those big flowers on the end of their pens.
I don't understand why gum is so expensive. I guess there's a supply and demand issue.
Everything is expensive. You think about it, everything is almost twice as much and you get less of it.
I know that, but it's still, I don't know.
I know it's annoying. It's so annoying. Stephanie is right. It's insane.
I mean, it was like $5.45 for gum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, what?
Yes. You could get it for so cheap.
It's like, damn.
And it seems to lose its taste faster, too.
You know, I didn't used to mind Penn State University, but now I am. They're like they're like the rest of the colleges, but they're
obnoxious. One of my kids graduated from Penn State.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Is it the liberal one?
No, she's as conservative as they come.
You never told me a child went to Penn State.
I did. My daughter Heather, who's an attorney, graduated from
Penn State University.
She did, and then she graduated from SLU, and they're both.
Was this your first marriage or your second marriage?
It's my first. I only had one marriage.
Oh, I thought you'd been married a few times.
No, I've not. I've not been married a few times.
Was it the first dad or the second dad?
Unfortunately, it's the same dad. He keeps hanging around. He never leaves.
Heather, the attorney?
Yeah, Heather, the attorney. She graduated with her bachelor's degree from Penn State. And get a load of the degree, too. It was family life and children's studies because she wanted to take over our preschools. And then she decided to fight human trafficking. And then she went to SLU. She went to two very liberal colleges and is very conservative and a constitutionalist. So it can happen.
No, it's fine. I used to get that asked all the time. Lizzie, how could you do local news? It's so liberal. I was like, yeah, most of the people who are trying to write stories and pick stories, they're very far left Democrats. My producer was he was into a lot of the cross-dressing stuff. And
really?
Oh, yeah. On Fox too.
Yeah. Okay. And cross-dressers.
No, he's a gay man. That's fine. But he was into the cross-dressing and drag stuff. And
David used to be asked out by cross-dressers at his work.
Yeah, I could see that. Dave has that look.
He has the gay guy look.
Glasses. Very studious. I'm David Sparks. No, people don't know. They need to know David for that joke to make any sense.
Right. They don't know him. But it was, he worked at TWA.
I just see him like.
Yeah.
I see him in nylons or something.
See him in nylons. I've never seen him in nylons, but the telephone would ring when we were first married, and it would be a guy going, "Is David Sparks there? I'd like to talk to David Sparks."
Oh my God.
No, that's no lie.
That's crazy.
And I met a couple of them, and they were nice, but once we started having kids, we couldn't have that going on anymore.
What? No cross-dressing anymore?
No, we didn't even do that.
When did he stop his cross-dressing?
When did he stop his cross-dressing? I think I'm more the cross-dresser. Matter of fact, I have his jacket and his hat on today. I had a bunch of stuff to do this morning. I was running late, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to go. So I got his clothes on.
Wait, but you're always here early.
I was still here early, but I don't know. I was just like researching this morning, all the stuff, and then it just got away from me.
Well, if we get off track and there's something you want to talk about, bring it up. Let me know.
Thank you, Derek, for sharing the show. Everyone should be like Derek Pratt this morning and share the show. Share the show to at least one person that you know has never heard it.
Oh, we'd be appreciative. That's
yes.
For sure.
On whatever platform you are, share the show. And if you're listening to this after the fact, too, a lot of people listen to it on the iHeart app or Apple or Spotify. You can take the particular show and even text it on the audio listening apps. You can just text it to a friend. You don't even have to forward it on the actual platform. You can say, hey, this is really a good show. That Lizzie is great, but that Vic, he's tolerable, but
more like I'm tolerant.
There's a lot of truth to that too.
Tolerant of Greg.
Tolerant of Greg. I think Greg is tolerant of
Joe
us.
apologizes in advance today for any technical problems because Greg is steering the boat.
Yeah. Isn't it fun to blame everything on Greg?
Greg, how you doing this morning? You can introduce yourself. Or is that too much?
Say something, Greg. Say something on the show.
Greg.
Something, Greg. Sup, Greg.
Used to it.
Sup, Greg.
Sup,
Greg.
But, are you kidding me? Is he not talking?
No, when he told me that
you never stop talking.
That's why you say sup.
Mike?
Yeah. And now you're not talking. He's mimicking us right now.
Great.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Dude, you never stop talking. And then I give you a mic and then you don't talk.
That's the producer in me.
Uh-huh.
Outside of that, you never can shut me up.
Sup, Greg.
Sup.
Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy. Let's start the show if that's cool. You had your chance.
He blew it.
Joe's like, damn, that's the quietest I've ever heard him.
Uh-huh. That's so funny.
Hey guys, welcome into Cancel This. It's cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. Projo in the house. So is Greg. Are we just calling you Greg? What's your last name? What's that name again? Like Greg Stevens or something?
Corel, like the dishes almost.
Greg Corel. Gregory
Corel doesn't go right with Greg. I don't know.
Well, we tried LaRock in the beginning when I tried this.
Greg LaRock? I like Greg LaRock.
I do
It's
too.
Corel spelled backwards.
So
Well, then there it is. That we're just going to call you LaRock. We're not even going to call you Greg
so
anymore.
we got Projo and LaRock.
Projo and LaRock.
Or we can actually call you Rockla because Projo was always supposed to be Joe Pro.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Not Projo. It was supposed to be Joe Pro, right? Joe Pro, not Projo, but somehow
I've always
got
called him
talking-
Projo.
I
Yeah.
started calling him that. I thought somebody said his name was Projo.
Well, I'm on the other show. I'm called PG, as in producer Greg.
Okay.
I like PG too.
What's up, PG?
And you
PG.
need the PG parental guidance me anyway.
Oh, that's perfect then. Yeah, you do. No, you're rated R most
Well,
of the
PG's
time.
on the boards. He is also doing the job that Projo does. Hey, welcome into the show today, the October 10th, 2023 podcast. You won't want to miss this coming up at 8:20, 8:50, 8:15-ish, 8:20. A woman who I know and a woman who I respect, and she is pro-Palestinian.
I'm going to have to really try to be nice. Okay.
No, and I told her it's a tough sell
Mm-hmm. With our crowd,
in
it's
America.
tough. Yep.
When 11 Americans have died, including a Missouri woman from Boone County,
You
which we'll
betcha.
get into as well. Now, this is, as we said yesterday, that war has gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm convinced, and so is she, that it will be, as Scripture states, a part of the end of the world, or as we know it. Good morning, Ben. But we're cancel this, so we give everybody an opportunity to speak.
Yes, we do.
She just feels as if Americans are blinded by news that she says is controlled by Jewish owners, that nobody knows the plight of the people, the Palestinian people. Now, I said yesterday, as I told her, I said, Helen, I said yesterday, at least 80% of Palestinians,
Mm-hmm.
and I've met them, are good people. They don't agree with what's happening with the government. But the government, man, I'm sorry, there's no way, in my humble opinion, to defend what happened over the weekend, but she wants to make sure everybody's educated. We give everybody a voice, whether you agree, disagree, whether you think somebody sounds intelligent, whether you think they sound stupid, whether you think they're kind, whether you think they're racist, whatever color you are. That's what we try to do so everybody can at least talk. But once again, I mean, there's no excuse for killing people coming from Todd. Pam says not all Palestinians are terrorists. So anyway, we're going to get into that. RFK Jr. is it going to rock it up? We talked about it last week. He's going to run as an independent. I would love to see him and Trump debate.
Me too. Wouldn't that be great?
Biden, sorry, you can't come.
Yeah, Biden, you can't.
He would be
there.
lost anyway, as he's been lost in this whole situation that's been going on in Israel. Penn State University cancels the speech of Riley Gaines. What a joke university. And I'm sorry if you went to Penn State. I'm going to call him out.
Mm-hmm.
What a dumbass university for doing that. Just because somebody wants to come and talk, you show your true colors. Penn State, we got to come up with a bad list for them.
Yeah.
Plus a whole lot more. We'll show you the Iranian government, what they were saying. And if you don't think that we if you think we can trust that government, I don't know after what you see in this video.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's all coming up. We're going to run our commercials really quick, about 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Like, subscribe, share the show. We're Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. You can also go to the website. You can find the perfect platform for you. But don't go anywhere. Coming up in about 10 minutes. Like I said, we'll come back from break. We'll set up Helen. She is joining us. Fingers crossed. We pray from Jordan, live from Jordan this morning. Jordan's peaceful. That's a great area. But she's from the St. Louis area, and she's been a longtime listener of our show. She just wants to try to educate people, not any backing of killing, but educate people on what's going on, because she listened to Stephen Shalowitz, who we had on yesterday from the Israel Cast podcast. And she just felt that a lot was missing. So anyway, as we go to break, can't trust any government coming from Angie. We know that. Don't go anywhere. Like, subscribe, share the show. Give us a like on those platforms. It helps us get to as many people as possible as well. Back with more just right after this.
Oh, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. Hey guys, welcome back into Cancel This. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house, and we've got LaRock, or what do we call PG?
LaRock, PG
LaRock.
the Rock.
LaRock.
LaRock.
PG.
I kind of like LaRock.
Coming up on the show, we're going to get into RFK Jr. Could he be that dark horse? Could he really shake things up? We've talked about him in the past. I know there's people who like him. Republicans, he is a Democrat. He's running as an independent, but he is a Democrat because the Democrat liberals would not allow him to debate and make Joe Biden look even worse. Anyway, we'll see where that goes. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the show, as we talked about. Also talking about Penn State canceling a speaking engagement for Riley Gaines. Just shame on. What does that tell your students at Penn State University? If I'm a parent spending any money at that damn school, I'm out. I'm sorry. I know it's fun and you get your friends. Screw Penn State. That's bullshit. That's total. Where is your? You're going to go to college and learn that you don't have your First Amendment right. That's
terrible.
Hello,
Terrible.
Penn State. Oh, Penn State's such a great university. Oh, yep. No, they're not. They're crap. They're total crap. And I would say it about the University of Missouri, where I went and played football at as well, if they did the same damn thing. Screw it.
Mm-hmm. Mizzou had its problems when they were doing all the BLM stuff. There was a lot of people that were huge Mizzou people and then wouldn't send their kids during the time when they had that. Now they
And it was all made up.
Yeah, but nobody knew that at the time.
It was all made, not one thing ever. It was all a conspiracy.
Yeah, it was.
No proof to destroy and use the university. But the officials got put into bad spots there.
They did.
But they didn't do any, they didn't cancel speakers and first
No, they
speech.
didn't do that.
That's the problem with Penn State University. That's why shame on, if you know it's Penn State, call them out. Call their ass out for doing that. All because little old Riley Gaines was going to go give a speech about men not competing with their junk, letting it flop out in the locker room before they actually went out and swam. Yeah, that was what happened. Oh, yeah, Leah Thomas in the locker room dressing with women, pulling down the Speedo, and wait a minute. That's what you have underneath that one piece? Okay. Anyway, so there you go. Yeah. Aaron says, if you think Penn State is bad, check out Hamas Harvard. I know. I already told my son, if he gets an offer from Harvard for football, he's not going.
Nope. I wouldn't send one of my kids to Harvard. Absolutely.
Harvard is not what it used to be anyway. Any
Not
school that gives Lori Lightfoot a teaching arrangement is not a very good school anymore. I'm sorry. I know all the highbrow East Coast people, Harvard.
People get so impressed. Oh, my child went to Harvard.
Ivy League.
I'm like, don't brag about that.
Sorry, it's bullshit when you have Lori Lightfoot and you're letting Lori Lightfoot teach at your university.
Yep.
You're not an esteemed university anymore.
No,
sorry. It is what it is. Do we have Helen on the phone? We're going to set her up in a second. Do we have her? I just want to make sure before we bring her in. I don't want to set the tone off bad, but real quick, not real quick, but out of respect, a Missouri woman from Boone County, Deborah Matthias, was shot and killed in Israel. She's one of 11 Americans that we know about that was killed in the attacks by the terrorist. Andrew Bailey, the Missouri Attorney General, put out a tweet this morning talking about her life and how sad it is to hear what has happened. There are still many more people missing, including allegedly Americans over there. So we had to give that update as we have that going on. It's part of the story that's so difficult for anybody to accept, anybody to understand. It is a brutal reality.
Yeah.
And more videos are being shown now of men, women, and children being attacked. We've heard about the savagery of murders and rapes and kidnappings and beatings and the desecration of bodies after they're dead.
The videos are graphic.
Yeah, and now the music festival. Imagine being over at Hollywood, and people just come in with guns and start shooting. That's what happened. Like it's over 260 people. About 260 people dead there now, over dead, just in that area. So, Joe Biden now being urged by at least some Republican lawmakers to freeze the $6 billion that Iran got. Because of their alleged coordination with the whole situation. Yesterday, Stephen Shalowitz joined us on the show. He's from the Israeli Cast podcast. He gave his perspective of what has happened from his time being there, from the Jewish perspective and what the world needs to see. He, gave us from his point of view of what we saw and give us a little history from that. One of our listeners on the show has been a longtime friend of mine. Awesome person. Her and her husband, good. I don't get to see him a ton, but good friends of mine. Some of the kindest, most giving Palestinian people you would ever meet, living in the St. Louis area. She is now in Jordan. She saw the podcast yesterday. She was troubled by what she heard Stephen Shalowitz say. So she wanted a chance to try to educate our viewers and listeners as to the history of what's going on here. And like I said, this is Cancel This. Everybody gets a voice, whether you agree or don't agree. And I told her selling Hamas at this point in time is an extremely difficult deal if that's what she was trying to do. But I ask that you treat her with respect, as I care for this person, and she's been there for me in the past too. So I want to bring in Helen Quaisi, who took her kids to Jordan to learn a little bit about the culture. And she joins us now. Helen, it is so great to see you. You look beautiful as ever. How are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you in person.
You too, Vic. Thanks so much for having me on the show. And thanks to all of your listeners for just hearing me out, because I do have a different perspective. And just a little background about myself. I was born and raised in America, Springfield, Illinois. I am Arab through and through. I'm married to a wonderful Palestinian husband. We have 3 daughters. We've been to Palestine twice. And now I'm in Jordan, and I'll start off by talking about the media coverage. It is so different, and I cannot blame a single American for thinking what they think.
Do you mean media coverage in America? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, yes, media coverage in America. You do not see the other side. It really dehumanizes the Palestinians. And there's so much like context to why this happened. And the people that are paying the ultimate price are people. They're civilians, Gazans, mostly children. Gaza has been described by so many, you can look it up, as an open air prison. It is the largest population per capita of people who already suffer like the lack of basic resources. So, and on top of that, they are surrounded by checkpoints and border control by the Israelis. So I found it, I don't want to say funny, but funny when Benjamin Netanyahu said, "Get out of Gaza before we come." These people can't go anywhere, and he knows it. So he is, I mean, there's a major humanitarian crisis and the breaking of international law, which I hate even saying that. Like, I like to believe in it, but it's a joke, kind of. Left and right by Israel. They always have the right to defend themselves, yet these people who don't have a tiny bit of resources compared to the Israelis don't have a right to defend themselves. It just, you know, at the end of the day, social justice and humanity are what matters to me. I have plenty of Jewish friends back home in America.
I know you do, and I can attest for that because I know you personally.
You know, I host.
That's how it should be.
And exactly, like
Palestinians and Jewish communities getting along together in the St. Louis area or America anywhere.
In America, they get along just fine. And I think that people in America who only really see one side of the story, the Israeli side, just they tend to forget how sensitive human life is and that we are people too. We're not subhuman. And I don't know. I guess
you don't support what's happened, and I'm sorry, it's Hamas coming in, terrorists knocking down walls with men racing in with trucks, killing, raping, and kidnapping.
I don't support that. Absolutely not. But this situation is extremely difficult to understand when you have never seen the other side of the struggle, and the struggle has been immense. Palestinians on a daily, and I experienced it myself, and I went in with my U.S. passport through a border check, and they held me aside and were asking me questions as to why am I coming? What am I doing here? Well, I'm going to go visit my in-laws. I'd like to go see Jerusalem. I'd like to see some of the historic sites. And they put on my passport that I was not allowed, and I only had 2 weeks there, and I had to stay in the occupied West Bank territory. And in the end, I asked one of the officers, the IDF officers, I could have went to the Tel Aviv airport on my US passport. Yet I just, for my first time, I wanted to be with my husband who has dual citizenship. So he has to go through the
And he's
check.
Palestinian. Can you remind everybody, you didn't grow up Palestinian. You married a Palestinian.
I married a Palestinian,
And
and
your
my
ethnicity?
lineage is, I am, if you really want to break it down, I'm 1/4 Palestinian and 3/4 Jordanian. I am 100% full Arab. I tried to dispute this with my mom, saying when the Romans conquered us, like, there's no way we came out with blonde hair, Mom. Somebody messed around. She's like, no. So I did the 23andMe genetic test. I am 100% Middle Eastern, Jordanian, with a touch of Palestinian. So, but I was born and raised in America, and I think my perspective is good for people to hear. Not everybody like you, Vic, has friends who are Palestinian, Jordanian, so they don't have like a little softness or interest in the topic and being able to understand when the conflict started. And it's readily not available in America, I'll tell you that much. I am the chairman of Passport Night at one of my kids' schools for the last 12, 13 years. The majority of that school is Jewish, by the way. And my first year doing it, I had 2 tables set up, one for Jordan, one for Palestine. My husband was freshly frying falafel. It was like the hottest table at school. And I can't tell you how many Jewish families came up to us and were like, you guys are great. You're nice people. Like, it was such a weird thing to experience.
Do you blame the media? Because we know when we see people trying to get along in America, this is a massive issue, getting back to what happened in the attack
Right.
from what I will call Hamas terrorist. You may disagree.
Mhm.
You may not call Hamas terrorist. I do. I respect you and I love you and I love your husband.
Well, it's not that I call them this or that, because I'm not that invested in Hamas, and I don't know every detail about them, but I will say the perception over here. I watch Al Jazeera English, for example, which is owned by Qatar, and it is known to be the same way our medias are, biased, except when I'm seeing live footage, I tend to be like a little more enamored with their news, because I've never seen live footage of Palestinians in America, for example. So anyway, going back to what you were saying, Hamas is not viewed as a terrorist organization here, or in the Middle East, I should say. And that boils down to the Palestinian people not being able to achieve a proper governing establishment. Like, they don't have a real government.
Yeah. Well, we're going to show video later of Iran's government chanting death to the USA over this whole situation.
Iran's a different topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it boils down, no matter where you live, if you're over in Jordan and if you're here in America, we don't ever know exactly what to think, because there's propaganda everywhere. And so we can look up the history of both Palestinians and people who live in Israel and see what the greater picture is, that it's basically religious and cultural and not necessarily genetic. So we get all of that. It's the problem that a lot of Americans are seeing here is very similar. I'm going to be honest, is that the Ukraine and the Russia war, there's so much propaganda there. And it's interesting to me in America, the same people that are sympathetic to Ukraine, the opposite are now sympathetic to, Israel. And I would really like to have a microscope to see what the truth is about all four of these places, because we're not getting the truth unless we do really big deep dives on any of it.
Right. Real quick, I'm not smoking a bong, it's a hookah.
I was wondering what she was doing.
It's flavored tobacco. It's a cultural thing. Vic smoked it at my house before. It's
I did.
Like when your grandpa has
I wish Joe
cigar.
I wish Pro Joe was on the line if he could hear us, because he'd probably be proud of me that I tried. It was grape flavored. I would compare it, I guess, to and I don't want to do it wrong. Compare it to maybe the vapes, the kids that do vapes or people who do vapes. Would you?
I guess I can't inhale a cigarette for the life of me, and I tried to vape once. It's the same reaction for some reason. So it's like
it relaxes you.
It's just it's a social thing. It's got water down there, and then you put the flavored tobacco up here. You light it with a charcoal.
Yeah. I did hookah next to her cats, and her cats just chilled next to me.
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely hilarious. I can't say that Have
you ever done hookah, Pro Joe? Oh yeah, of course you have. Sorry,
I think I'm the only one in this room that has not done that. I have not.
I'll send you a hookah from Jordan when I come back.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's I appreciate the levity. It's a horrible situation that we're talking about, but yeah, somebody wanted to know what you were doing, so you want to get back to
you make her want to smoke, Vic. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I think this situation, I've been smoking and glued to the news here, and like I said, I think that's the first and foremost largest topic that I would like my fellow Americans to understand is that the media coverage is drastically different over here versus America, and not everybody is understanding the context and the cause of the conflict, and it goes back for so long, and this is not the first time, and unfortunately I don't think it'll be the last time. This place in our holy book, and I want to say it's in the Bible too. I went to a Catholic university, a private Catholic university, but the end of days is going to end in Jerusalem, the city of three faiths. I took a course about it. I mean, Jerusalem, this should be a land of peace, but it has never seen peace. And it's, I mean, something you guys didn't see that I witnessed is the Israelis took a church down and a mosque. It's one of like the third oldest church.
But when was that, Helen?
This was yesterday or today.
You mean,
that's in response, right? That's in response,
right? But I mean, like it shouldn't be. It's not just like a Muslim Jew. It's not a religious thing. There were settler Jews in Jerusalem a few days ago spitting at nuns, and they're like the IDF were trying to like take care of that situation before this whole war started. I mean, it's a fight for the Holy Land. It has dated back way too long, and it's unfortunate, but the civilians of Gaza, this is a huge thing that I want everyone to understand. They're people too.
You're talking about the Palestinian people.
Yeah, in Gaza.
You're not talking about the government.
No. I said my piece about Hamas and what is
Yeah,
thought
because
about
they're
the
launching. There's video of them launching rockets from mosque. That
Right.
takes that takes the religious aspect out of it.
Yeah, I'm
Doesn't it?
talking about the lives lost. And then now this siege on Gaza. Gaza is already an open air prison. All the humanitarian aid has been cut off. They turned off the electricity
And
uh,
water. But this was
They're not
it was after the attacks.
right. But I mean, they've taken down high tower apartment buildings that were filled with civilians. If you're really just targeting Hamas, that whole building is not Hamas. And that's just one building. They've hit schools, they've hit UN, UNRWA, like safety shelters for these people. So many people are displaced. It's ridiculous. And to watch live feed of any baby, any child dying or being pulled out of rubble dead, to me is not okay. Whether you're Jewish, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're Hindu, whatever it may be. So I feel like America needs to be a little more cultured. I don't know how else to say it. I
get it. I get the cultured aspect, but the thing about it is it's one thing to try to understand the back and forth, which came first, the chicken or the egg, back and forth, bombings, killings, shootings, rock throwings, you name it. But at the end of the day, right now, as I told you respectfully, because I do care about you and Hatham, your husband, there's no defense of what occurred in Israel. And then Israel responds, and then Hamas now saying, or Hamas, as you pronounce it, says, we're not going to even negotiate with our hostages until the fighting stops. And then it's back and forth, back and forth. Nobody's going to win. It's going to continue to fight. I guess your perspective is you don't agree with this attack. You found it atrocious, but you're not surprised it happened.
I'm not surprised it happened. And that goes back to the beginning of the conflict. And what, like I said, going back to the media, what Americans don't see is the daily since the U.S. and Britain gave that territory to Israel that already had all these Palestinians there.
We'll go back to 47 and 48.
Right. Like they have controlled the Palestinian people and unprovokedly murdered plenty. It's never in the news. They are harassed on a daily. They are treated like second-class citizens, subhuman. And so, when the occupied has been occupied for that long, I'm not surprised that they're gonna fight back.
So
that's the best I could say as far as that. It's not even a defense. It's just why I'm not shocked that it happened.
We have a couple listeners asking on the chat line, just for reference to the whole conversation. Does you and your husband share Muslim beliefs or Christian beliefs, or
we are Muslim, but we are both born and raised in America, and have plenty of Christian friends, plenty of Jewish friends. So I guess we'll go back to that word. We're a little more cultured. But it's really hard for me to sit back and see a lot of my American friends say, I stand with Israel, and unequivocally, there's no even thought about the Palestinian lives being lost, and they are. There are a lot of them, and most of them are civilians who don't have any means to protect themselves. Like a lot of the international community has abandoned them, especially America. And speaking of America, by the way, we give how much money to Israel per year from our tax dollars? Does anybody know this number?
I don't know the number, but I know it's a whole hell of a lot more than what we give to Ukraine. But they've been a massive ally of ours since.
Yeah, they're our allies.
All right, but I live in Jordan. We're America's ally. So why don't we give it's $3 billion, by the way, per year. Why don't we give Jordan okay, somebody said 6 billion. I thought it was 3 million. But why aren't we giving Jordan $3 billion a year to be our ally? And America has been an ally with Jordan since the dawn of time. Makes me a proud Jordanian, actually. We are the Switzerland of the Middle East.
Is Jordan not a democratic country?
No, we have a monarchy, the badass king.
That's why, though. I think that's why.
Exactly why.
A lot of my American friends have reached out, which really disappoints me in their geography skills.
Hey, America has a king coming. His name is King Trump.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a little Trump right about now. I can't stand hearing Biden's voice.
Sorry.
But one of the questions that I have is, and I think our listeners would like to know, is twice you've said that Americans need to be more cultured. So what would make us more cultured?
And I didn't mean that in a negative way. I'm sorry if it came out that way. I think that goes back to our media coverage, which is why I feel like a lot of Americans don't look at both sides of the story. I could say the same for the whole Russian-Ukraine issue. Like, we only saw one side, and I didn't really look into it, but I'm sure there are two sides to that story too. There's always two sides. It takes two to make it. It takes two to break it, right?
Yeah.
So when I say, like, Americans should be more cultured, I guess I should have rephrased that into maybe do a little more research.
It's education. That's what it is. I mean, that's what I took it as, because it's the same reason, whether it's this topic that's going on in the Middle East with Israel and the attack, which it has been a bloody attack on Israel, or whether it's Ukraine, Russia, it's understanding and doing study and research. And I know it's gone back and forth and back and forth. It's just out of nowhere. What prompted this attack? Out of nowhere.
Well, it's not out of nowhere, so I'm glad you brought that up. I have so much on.
That's how Americans feel and look at it. That's how the Jewish people.
It's not. So, I think our third most holy site in the world after Mecca and Medina, which is in Saudi Arabia, is the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. And continuously, it has been disrespected by Israelis, and they're digging under it, and they're trying to do a lot of things that are just, I'm not going to get into it, but at the end of the day, it is like somebody going to the Vatican. Let me put it into perspective. It's like somebody going to the Vatican and bringing atheists there and letting them rummage through and dig for archaeological sites or whatever it may be. This, I think, is the reason this happened now. The Dome of the Rock in Arabic is Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. And this is one thing that's not just upsetting the Palestinians, but that's their thing, right? But it's disrupting all the Arab nations. So this is why this war scares me. This is why Iran may be involved. Saudi Arabia has already said, we stand with the Palestinian people, and they just made peace with Israel, recognizing them. Like, to spit in our faces for our third most holy site, to mess with that is really rocking the boat. So this was no surprise to me or to any Arab. And
Helen,
it shouldn't have. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do you or your husband back and an Israeli state?
I spent my years at SLUs studying political science. I took as many courses as I could, like the one that I said, the City of Three Faiths and whatnot. And for me, I'm a realist. I'm not going to waste time on these fluffy ideas that one day we're all going to get along. But in the beginning, I really was hoping for a two-state solution. I don't think that'll ever happen, unfortunately. But there needs to be a respect between the two, and Israel occupies these people, and they do treat them horribly. I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it. I'm like a blonde looking white girl, and they came at me like, come on, dude. Like, they
Does Israel?
this is stuff people don't get to see firsthand. I lived it.
No, I get it, and that's why I wanted your perspective. But does Israel have a legal right to the land where they are now?
Well, they've been given it. Who am I to say
Since
what's
1948.
Yeah, since 1948. Before then, on the map, which is hard to find, by the way, on Google, was Transjordan. Whoever said something about a little hard to take a couple from Springfield, Illinois, as experts on the Middle East, like, Kathy, dude, get out of here with that. I am Middle Eastern. Springfield, Illinois is a great town. My dad owned the first drive-through in the country. Historic site.
I think what Americans.
Well, you knew people were going to agree and disagree with you, Helen, for what you're saying.
I know, but don't be calling out my hometown. My husband's not from Springfield, by the way.
Well, I think where Americans are coming at is, and you kind of hit this, is there's so much propaganda. And so if you're somebody that doesn't know anything that's going on at all, say you don't even know history whatsoever, our media was very, very pro-Ukraine. And so, and a lot of those people were Democrats, and they still have Ukraine signs up. But what I'm seeing is a lot of people who are uneducated and uninformed, but were very pro-Ukraine, are now not jumping on the bandwagon to help anyone that's Jewish or be for Israel. And they're for, right now, Palestinians, because that's what our media is telling us. Our media, not our deep media.
You mean before this attack?
Even now.
The problem is Americans aren't wanting to listen or understand anything when you see kids being killed, women, children, women taken away, raped, the savage brutality that's going on. That's why it's difficult to understand what's been happening before, when allegedly, as we see, there has been no hardcore fighting, at least for a couple of years. That's why I was trying to bring up, Lizzie, not to interrupt you, trying to understand.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Americans, we don't understand that, because if you just turn on NBC, ABC, whatever, they are very pro-Palestinians. They are. If you look at the people that are in New York, they are, pro, Palestinians. But the average American is like, okay, if the news is telling us to be pro-Palestine, they were telling us to be pro-Ukraine. What's really going on here? Because no one really trusts what's going on. To your point, Vic, is they are. If you're seeing videos, you can't see this really on NBC, ABC, CBS, any of what's really going on. But you look at the video, and you had referred to the videos earlier, you see their soldiers' heads getting cut off. You see blood everywhere. You see children dying. And we do know that this has been a back and forth fight all along. But the average American just thinks this came out of nowhere. And they honestly think our government is part of it, because no one trusts Joe Biden. So they feel that with Joe Biden's nefariousness, with everything that's going on, and we won't even get into that right now, no one trusts what's going on with our country. We actually feel our country was part of hurting people in Israel.
Well, you see the videos, the horrific videos of the Israelis who are massacred, but what I'm seeing over here, this goes back to the media coverage. And I encourage anybody to look up Al Jazeera English. So it's all in English, and you will see live videos of the civilians of Gaza being massacred, and they are paying the ultimate price.
You're 100%, Helen, right about this. And it's interesting because from a news perspective and from being associated with news and local news for so long, I appreciated Al Jazeera coverage in the United States. I did. I wanted to, because even my friend Donald, who we've had on the show from China, who came in, everybody loved Donald, talked about your news in America. He's like, it's a joke.
It is a joke.
He's like, you get one perspective. He's like, I watch world news. He even was upset to hear, because Al Jazeera was taken off in the United States. It was cut off. That whole perspective was cut off. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because it was giving all perspectives to a story. What is Cancel This about? Giving all perspectives. There's people who don't want to listen to you today, Helen, talking about, listen, I'm trying to give you a perspective of Palestinian people and regarding this whole situation that's gone on, not supporting what happened, not supporting the attack, but where Palestinians stand. Al Jazeera was, that was a wealth of information. I'm telling you, it was. And then it made me wonder, why would America take it off? Why would America cut off that news source?
I have a theory about that, but I don't think your listeners are ready for that.
I think they are ready for that. We have very educated listeners.
Oh man,
it's
owned by Qatar, and they will be the first people to release videos from Hamas. Like I said, Hamas is not viewed as a terrorist organization everywhere in the world. It's not. It's just viewed as.
Did they carry out this attack though, Helen? I'm trying to be respectful.
No, they did.
Okay.
But it kind of like I saw a few lines here and there, like Israel has the right to defend itself. That's like the thing that everybody says, right? Well, do the Palestinians have the same right to defend themselves? And this goes back to, well, maybe Hamas is acting out of such a frustration and such horrific events that nobody sees. And this is how they defend themselves, which is a very low-tech operation. They don't have anything that Israel has. I mean, America supplies Israel with the best of the best. We're sending our biggest warship there now, if it's not there already. These people have nothing. So, it's like,
it is interesting.
It goes back to, it doesn't surprise me. I don't condone it. I don't want lives lost on either side. But it's like you kind of have to understand the context of this area, which is probably one of the most complex situations on the face of the planet.
Oh, it is the most complex, and it always has been, and it always will be, especially as you said, if you believe in your faith books, if you believe in your faith, if you believe in scripture. That's the problem. We've been talking with Helen Quaisi. She lives in Jordan right now with her daughter. She's from the St. Louis area, or at least was living in the St. Louis area. She said she's a quarter Palestinian, 3/4 Jordanian. She's married to a Palestinian man. I know them personally. And while I love her and her husband hate them, do I agree with everything? No, because I'm not educated enough to live the life that they have lived in that situation. Am I involved in the conflict? No. Do I hate what the frick happened on Saturday? Do I detest it? You better believe it. At this point in time, am I calling Hamas a terrorist group? I am. And I don't mean to be defensive to Helen, but we have to have these conversations, and that's what Cancel This is all about. I told Helen before she came on, you will have so many detractors, people that will not understand you, believe you, come after you. You better be ready. I see you got your hookah to help you. So that
actually, I think our listeners have been very restrained and respectful, considering I know what many of them feel. They've been respectful.
Yeah, we've got
Jews and
non-Jews responding as well.
I mean, the reason I follow your show, the reason I'm your friend, is because you and I and the show share very many similar views. I am just trying to give a respectful perspective about the other side. And
I mean,
and
the
I
people,
yeah, about the Palestinian people. Like, and it's
not the government.
they don't have a government. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. And that's why
We have
Hamas,
lawmakers in
that's why
Iran.
Hamas exists. That's why Hezbollah exists. These people are left with no proper governments to make a stand in the UN or in the international community, period. And so they do resort to violence because that's all they're left with. And
I think you'd be better off staying in Jordan than coming back to the area where you lived in after just promoting Donald Trump publicly.
whatever. One of my neighbors has a Trump flag flying high, and
Are you serious?
yeah, he's
Where
on the
you
other
live?
side.
Do you still have
Yep.
your home in the St. Louis area?
Yeah, I'm coming back, homie. It's all good.
Okay.
I'm just
I
saying.
didn't know you could fly Trump flags in the area where you live.
Oh, he flies it high and proud.
I would really like your neighbor then, I think. I fly one really high and proud too.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend. I'll end this on a funny story just to make it lighter. She was super Hillary, and so I ordered a bunch of Trump stuff off of Amazon.
This is already. I love this.
Like the baby Trump balloons and the Trump signs, the beer koozie, all this stuff. And I went in the dark with my loud ass car. That's how I got busted. And I totally hazed her yard. I put Trump signs everywhere and the balloons. I
love
put
it. I
the
love
beer
it.
koozie in her mailbox. So listen.
Is she still talking to you?
Yeah, we're still friends.
Oh, well, that's good because you don't hear of that very often. You don't.
See, we could all be friends. We could all get along if we just had a little common sense and understood there are differences in the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
Hey, real quick, we had Ben wants to know, hey, what do you think will happen if you know much about this if Trump gets elected regarding Israel?
I think Trump does a good job. Like, to me, as an Arab, there's no American president that's ever going to take care of the foreign policy that I appreciate. And I've come to terms with that. Like I said, I'm a realist. But I do believe Trump does a great job of keeping everybody in their lane. He just needs to work on his speeches.
We saw for 4 years what he did. We didn't have the stuff that was going on. Helen, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thanks,
We'll get you. You've joined the show too. You were one of our first guests, by the way, on this show when we started just last year. So we're grateful for your support. When do you come back to the States?
Hopefully after the school year. I'm just trying to give my American girls a little culture. So there
If
you go.
you find video, if you find stories, if you find information that you say Americans are not seeing, that Americans are not hearing or being educated about, send it to me, please. Let me know so we can show. We'll show it. We're trying to educate as many people as we possibly can because we know local news does. We know world news doesn't. We try to do it on our live podcast on the platforms that we have.
I really feel like Al Jazeera English is a great place for people to see live coverage of the other side and to understand humanity is what matters.
Helen Quaisi.
Humanity is what matters. That's a great way to end that. I agree.
Tell your daughters I said hello. I did a story with Helen a few years ago on Fox 2 as well. So we had fun doing a story. They were awesome on TV. So go enjoy. What kind of flavor hookah?
It's always grape, Vic.
Oh my God, that's funny. Helen, thank you so much for your perspective, whether people agree, disagree, whatever. If you feel like it, you can go back through the comments if you wanted to and answer them, not answer them, all up to you. But
Just don't talk shit about Springfield and we're good.
Yeah, that's fine. If people just be nice about Springfield.
Oh my God.
That's right.
I've never
love
heard anybody defend Springfield, Illinois.
I can see that. It's a nice place.
That's awesome. Okay.
All
And
right,
I love your scarf,
it.
by the way. Your scarf.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Have a good day. It's about
Bye, Helen.
Bye, Helen.
Have a good day.
Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Helen Quaisi jumping in with us from the St. Louis area via Springfield, lives in Jordan with her family right now just for the school year, coming back to the St. Louis area after that. Yes, it's like I said, we all want to put people in boxes. And we want, as Americans, we want black and white answers. I do.
Mhm.
Most of life is gray.
Yeah, almost all
The
of life is
attacks are
gray.
not gray. The back and forth battle.
Mhm.
This is why it gets, like she said, it's biblical. It's scriptural. The Jewish people given this land, others feeling, oh no, this was ours from the Ottoman Empire. The Arabs, back and forth fighting. It's always been there. Was there a little break, it seemed like, as an American? Yeah, maybe. And then you get this that comes happening on Saturday. And now Israel's responding. And guess what? It's going to get ugly again. It's going to get uglier. And Israel is going to bomb the shit out of anything that they can find to try to take down Gaza. They've issued the warnings because they're on the offensive now.
Correct.
Now Israel is showing their might. And of course, what this does, it just continues the fighting over and over and over and over and over again. You have to defend yourself. What happens? The attack comes, you respond. And then what happens? A whole nother generation of people.
Yes.
And kids see, learn, and are taught what happens. This is the people who you hate. These are the people who are coming after you, whether rightly so or wrongly so. And then we're just trying to get a different perspective. Some people thought it was stupid. Some people thought it was good to hear. It is.
I think you have to, even if you don't agree with somebody, you have to see the whole picture. And the only way to see the whole picture is to have two sides to every story. And we even know, even when there's two, even if there's two sides, there's always somewhere in the middle, because you have to see the whole picture. We've been conditioned to just believe what we hear on the news. And then probably just in the last 2 decades, most people have realized, okay, they're lying to us. This is government run. And you just have to keep looking everywhere. And I don't disagree with a lot of things that she said about the humanity part of it. I totally agree with that too. But I am absolutely sure if I was Jewish right now, I would want to go over there and bomb everybody that did that to my people. But they are our allies too.
100%.
So, I mean, there are allies. I mean, and there's, a whole bigger picture. And I am still saying the same thing, that if you are listening to NBC or CBS, you know what the real story is. And what I mean by that is it's the opposite of what they're saying. And they are all about the Palestinian people, just like they were all about Ukraine. But here's the thing about Americans that I find extremely peculiar. And this is a left or right thing in our country, whether we're cultured, we're not cultured, whatever. And I understand what she was meaning by that after she explained it. But I still say that our media was so about Ukraine. Now our media is so about the Palestinians.
They are?
Oh my gosh. If you've not seen NBC, CBS, they are all about defending the Palestinians. They're almost anti-Jew. It is so ridiculous. So this is my point to all of this, is they're using this particular situation. Number one is a distraction. And number two, the story is what they're not saying.
Yeah, there's something
they're not saying. It's left. That just shows you left people. It is a general rule.
Well, Terry says, guys, I just don't think this war is as black and white.
It isn't as black and white. It is not black and white. And there's more to it. There's more to it.
And Robert says, hey, guys, I get what you say, responding to Kathy Smith. Having traveled internationally a lot, we Americans have no idea about many things outside our borders. It's confusing.
It is. It is.
They also have their media telling them stuff as well.
Correct.
So he's giving Helen a pass for her opinions and her culture, being an Arab, in regards to
100%.
How she's been, as she says, cultured, as we say, educated in her families, in her media, and what she says from her experiences. I've talked about Ben, who's Jewish, one of my best friends. The other point is, when I was in Detroit, I did stories. I was invited into mosque. I was in Dearborn. I was brought in to I wasn't worshiping, but I was brought in to Muslim communities to do stories. I did a week's long story. All I heard and saw were the experiences that Helen talks about from people on the opposite side of Israel. And I'm like, damn, this shit is so confusing.
It is confusing.
Trying to understand both sides making great points. And then it goes, well, we had our land taken from us and we're never giving it up.
Well, sorry, they lost.
And
they lost.
And then, well, yeah, Britain started that because they had to get Israel to back them. And this goes all the way back to World War I.
Yes, it does.
Robert says, big Israel to Russia ties. All airlines book daily. Why? Israel to Russia? Damn, that's interesting.
Well, and people are saying this all over the chat line, and I do agree with them that it is very complex. But it's also our government is involved with this because our warmongers are like Lindsey Graham and Mike Pence and all that and NBC News, and they're all warmongers, and they're like going like this. Oh my gosh, this is so good because they see dollar signs. So the death and destruction that you and I and our listeners see, we're so empathetic to children being hurt. I'm sorry, but people like Lindsey Graham and Mike Pence, they are loving this. They're not even hiding it because they know if we start getting involved in this one way or the other, and we're already down on our oil reserves, purposely so then they can go after that for the betterment of our country. No, that is what's going on.
Here's something else too, Lizzie, that I brought up the other day. I felt as if it was a cover-up for Hunter Biden. Eric
for
feels
sure.
the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
We gave $6 billion to Iran just a few weeks ago, and then this happens.
Yes.
And don't think for a second, in my humble opinion, that it's not happening for... if you have $6 billion to call for somewhere that you know is supposed to be for humanitarian aid, which we talked about yesterday, that you could then not have to spend that money on humanitarian aid, your own money you could put that somewhere else.
Correct.
Because you know that you have $6 billion sitting in the bank that can take care of your food.
Yeah.
It's all too connected.
It is all connected.
And the whole perspective about all of this thing going on is it's not going to change.
No.
Opinions are not going to change.
No.
If anything, people are more steadfast in their ways, less likely to want to talk or accept another side. And it's only going to make matters worse. I hate what's going on. It just all seemed like, man, it's taken attention away from Joe Biden. It's taken attention away from Hunter Biden. And once again, as I said 2 weeks ago, the connections between Hunter and Joe Biden are starting to get lost with national media because it's so damn close and the ties are so tight. Oh, let's switch all the attention again to Donald Trump. Let's get this court case going in New York. Let's put all the attention in the news cycle towards Letitia, the Attorney General of New York, who deserves zero, I repeat, zero airtime. Oh, this Israeli attack happens. Oh, here we go. We got something else to take the news. What goes out? Hunter Biden, Joe Biden. Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of this country, right here, right now, losing his mind, can't walk on a damn stage still, fumbling, bumbling, stumbling, nowhere to be found with this whole conflict. Oh, and then, of course, you have the Speaker of the House vote coming up. That's supposed to take place tomorrow morning. I think behind closed doors.
Yeah, behind closed doors, they're saying. They're apparently meeting today and talking about it. And who do you think that's going? I know we're getting into that later, but
no, we can do that in a second here. It's just all of this stuff is going on and on and on and on and on, and we're not talking about Biden. We're not focusing the House Oversight Committee trying to get their information out because the House Oversight Committee is dropping bomb after bomb after bomb that the national media is refusing to cover and get into. So we talk about and wanted to give that perspective from Helen. Yesterday it was Stephen Shalowitz from the Israeli standpoint, and today Helen Quaisi live from Jordan. By the way, is that how great technology is right now?
You would have thought she was just next door.
That was one of the best podcast technical interviews we've ever had.
Yeah, for sure. It was seamless, and I
keep telling people, podcast it's
the way to go.
We are the new news. We are the growing
Yes.
industry. It's supposed to be in 2024 about a $5 billion industry. This is where advertisers from a national standpoint are starting to go because of people like you tuning in, not only live, but throughout the day, because we're not worried about people overseeing, oh, you can't say that, you're going to offend somebody. That's why we ask you to share the show. That's why we ask you to like, subscribe. If you can give us a thumbs up on each of the platforms, even if it's a different platform than what you have going. These are the type of things that we try to cover on a daily basis and bring information that you're not going to see anywhere else.
Because we don't know. We all have our opinions of what we think. We all have our opinions. I know I come from a Bible scripture point of view, but you have to talk to everyone to know what's going on and formulate your own opinion on what you think is going on, because you already hit it. There's so many things going on that our own government is trying to hide. It's really that plain and simple for Americans. Whatever's going on, our country has some of the most wonderful people anywhere, but our government is as corrupt as anyone else's government.
Well, we have some massive issues that are going on, though. We have 11 Americans for sure that are dead. 11 Americans died in this attack, including a Missouri woman, Deborah Matthias. She was shot and killed in Israel. Missouri native from Boone County. For those who don't know, Boone County, it's Columbia, Missouri, is the biggest town in Boone County. So that goes without saying how massive the situation is. You also had Amari Stoudemire, former NBA All-Pro, calling out BLM. Yesterday. I mean, shocking to see a former NBA player, African-American, calling out BLM, saying, where are you? Where are you now, BLM, in regards to calling out what happened?
They're not, because right now, BLM, it's Black Lives Matter's grassroots statement. They're in solidarity with the Palestinian people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll show you that right there. That's their statement, Vic. They are for the killing. That should tell you everything you need to know about the person that has a BLM sign in their yard and a Ukraine sign in their yard. That tells you what they think. It's bizarre to me.
Amari Stoudemire's comment, and it just blew me away when he said this. He goes, quote, I mean, this is Amari Stoudemire. He was a massive NBA star.
Yes.
He tweeted, I woke up this morning with some disturbing news out of Israel that Hamas are kidnapping children, putting them in cages, killing women, killing the elderly. That's some coward shit. That's cowardly. And for all y'all Black Lives Matter supporters who ain't saying nothing, let me figure out exactly what's happening before saying anything. And then he says, fuck you, Amari Stoudemire, going right after BLM.
Good.
And then BLM responds with that comment. Can you read that again, Lizzie?
Yes.
Just so our listeners and viewers get that. That blows my effing mind.
And Greg, I sent it to you if you want to put it up. I just now sent it to you. It's Black Lives Matter grassroots statement. Their statement is that they are in solidarity with the Palestinian people. They're saying nothing about all of the people that have been murdered, even the Americans that have been murdered by the hands of Hamas.
This is a live podcast. We appreciate you guys jumping in on the show when you do. We try to get your comments as much as we can. That is a big time coward take, the 10 week. I don't know what that means from Mary. Eric says BLM is a terrorist group itself that belongs to the Black Panther Movement Party. Just trying to educate us on what's going on there.
Exactly.
Jeannie says BLM is a fraud. They don't get one space in my head. DRC says BLM trained Marxist. But when you have Amari Stoudemire calling out, is that the?
Yeah, that's what it was. One of our listeners sent that.
Black Lives Matter grassroots statements in solidarity with the Palestinian people. So very difficult for anybody to ever bring up anything about BLM again. Here's the thing. You can be in solidarity with Palestinian people. Okay, you're allowed to. Guess what? Helen is in agreement with Palestinian people. The problem is BLM is not condemning the attacks.
Correct, which they should be.
They're not condemning the attacks anywhere, and they know exactly what they're doing.
And if you didn't know before, you know exactly and that was to my point earlier, you know exactly who people who stand up is the BLM, the Ukraine sign. Now, do you think they're going to have a sign in their yard that says, let's support people in Israel, even the Americans that died? Hell no, they are terrorists. And that's the scary thing that I'm seeing a lot of people say on the chat line is our number one priority right now is if you live in America and your whole family is here, is your American children, your American grandchildren. And we have these people coming over that are terrorists. They live here already, and they're literally in New York right now chanting death to America. You had said that earlier.
Well, Jeannie says, yeah, BLM or who's ever in control of BLM, they're just trying to stir shit up. They're nothing.
Of course.
All BLM are shit disturbers.
Yep. And money collectors for their own pockets.
But then if there's people who try to say, well, I'm doing good work in BLM's name, it gets lost. It gets lost in all that crap. That BLM is doing that. Derek says, I'm in solidarity with American tax dollars. American tax dollars matter.
Yes. Stop sending it out of here.
Terry says, LOL, they have been holding Palestinian flags and LGBTQ rainbow flags. If they took that stuff over, they would be beheaded.
Yeah, that's the irony of gay people here, that they're backing Black Lives Matters and Palestinians. And a lot of gay people are doing that. I'm not saying all, for sure. I'm not saying, but a lot are. And that the irony is if they were over there, they would have their head cut off.
Okay, Robert brings up a point I was going to bring up with Helen, and I forgot, and I have it written in my notes. I appreciate it so much. I brought this up a little bit. You have, and I promise we got so many other stories we're going to get to here. It is the fastest 2 hours in podcasting. We promote it, we believe it, and we think we show it on a daily basis. Israel's been preparing literally for 3 years for these cyber wars. Very high-tech stuff. You've seen their dome. There's no way we're going to be infiltrated. And then you're going to tell me, and Robert's quote is this: so the most secure wall on the planet, which was in Israel, dividing, was breached in Israel, and Mossad didn't know? I find that impossible. If you don't know how the attack occurred, they literally somehow rammed through concrete walls and men came storming in, excuse me, and driving pickup trucks. And you're going to tell me that Israel did not know that that was happening, or they did not stop that from happening.
Good point. I mean, there's so much stuff going
Robert,
on.
I agree with you 100%.
I do too.
So what you're alleging is Israel allowed this to happen so that they could go after, is it to start a war?
I think our country is involved in that. That was my point that I was making about all of this. The Ukraine-Russia war is a whole big bunch of crap for money and all of that. So is this. And innocent people are used as pawns for this game of money and power and killing. And it's disgusting.
When I heard, and I didn't read that until early this morning in doing research, that's how Israel was breached, through the most secure concrete wall. Really?
Yeah.
This is a show where we try to be educated. We're not worried about feelings. We're trying to get all facts out there. If we upset you as a Republican, if we upset you as a Democrat and independent, so be it. We're trying to get facts.
Correct. And
how the hell do you use this rudimentary technique to go through and old weapons? Oh, and that's how we're going to get into Israel? It reeks of an inside job. It reeks of government knowing. It reeks of, let's say, the conspiracy theorists who say American leaders allowed 9/11 to happen so that we could start something after the fact.
You betcha. You betcha. That is, people are calling it a false flag. And then when we say things like that, we look like we have tinfoil hats, but we don't. We don't have tinfoil hats. We're just speaking the truth. And all worldwide. It's part of the whole world order. These big corrupt governments, they don't care about us. They don't.
Aaron says Hamas released a video of how they did it. They had drones from Afghanistan and Iran. Drones that I'm sure the American military left, that took out Border Patrol towers. Really? And then they were able to bulldoze the wall. Really? That most secure wall.
Yep.
They also were able to paraglide in. And he says, no, all of the wall wasn't concrete. but secured. One of the most secured walls in America or in the world. I
mean, come on, man. Come on. And
I
like Troy's
have
saying,
to
it
think-
reeks like January 6th. It all reeks. It does.
I don't find that happened by chance. And that's where the perspective and you talking about the situation, which American media will not tell you.
No.
They'll not show you. And I appreciate the perspective, Aaron, to think, did they allow this to happen on purpose?
Yeah. Well,
did Israel allow it? I mean, I'm not trying to upset people. My Jewish friends would say, no way in hell. But it also, for Americans, there's no way for a long time would Americans ever believe that there was an inside job.
Right, for 9/11.
For 9/11. And doesn't evidence, at the very least, say there's some smoke with that situation that needs to be inspected? 100% if anybody's ever done a deep dive into that whole situation with 9/11.
Correct. And Jeannie is saying on here, she feels it's going to happen here again, and this time right in front of our faces, not just necessarily in New York. And she too doesn't trust our government to keep us safe. When you looked at George Bush and he's acting like he didn't know, but then once after the fact, you really deep dived and stuff, look at his face when he's reading that book at the elementary school. George Bush.
Yeah.
He knows. And that's the same thing. We're getting George Bush.
Yeah, but it was after the fact.
After the fact.
Because when we saw it initially, we're like, oh no.
Correct. Because most people did not believe our own government would do that to them. But you think people have gotten older. There's more people. Still, people do not believe our government would do this to them. Of course not, Vic, because our government wants to keep us safe and wants to keep us safe from COVID and put a mask on our face. They want to hurt us. But why? The bigger question is why?
And we talk about it. This is cancelthisshow.com. Special thanks to Complete Auto Body Repair. Complete Auto Body Repair throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. 7 climate-controlled facilities for techs to work at. They have a massive sales department. They own towing truck companies. They're always looking for good people. You're not going to be paid anywhere better. We bring Sandy Travis on from time to time, the human resources director over there. CompleteAB.com. Look up the jobs, CompleteAB.com. Let them know you heard about them on Cancel This. They'll take special care of you, we promise. Also, if you're looking to get your car taken care of, anything with your vehicle, A to Z, you're not going to find a better place. Lizzie and her family take their cars there. I've taken my car there. We've had several of our viewers and listeners who take their car there. And if they can't help you, they'll turn you away. Just let them know that you heard about them on cancelthisshow.com. We know the real estate industry is a nightmare. We'll be talking with Steve and Kathy Helbig-Strick tomorrow regarding Experience Realty Partners. You don't want to do this alone. You don't want to go by yourself. Call 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. We appreciate their advertising on the show. They come in every Wednesday. They're honest. They're not any questions. They're not afraid to answer, and they give you the facts straight up. Give them a call if you have any questions. There's no strings attached. They'll help you. They'll talk to you. When it comes to mortgage, when it comes to realty, you can give anything a shot with them at Experience Real Estate Partners, 314-276-SOLD. Of course, you've got Strategic Air Services. When it comes to private flying, luxury flying, you're not going to find anything better throughout the St. Louis area. We broadcast live out of their airport hangar in our beautiful studio here. By the way, we're still looking for a sponsor for our studio.
Yeah, you know what?
And not only do we do this show live every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, but we also have several more shows that are now starting.
Yes.
Joe has a show, Audio Inc., which is about music and art with tattoos. We've got one of the best high school football recruiting shows in the Midwest that has started. Check it out, Football 360 show. They come out of here. We've got another political show that comes out of the show. So if somebody has the sponsor, they get in all those shows as well.
Yeah, they would. So you would get to sponsor the Cancel This Renew Media studio, and you'd have your name on everything. So we just thought to do that, to have someone sponsor the whole studio.
And tomorrow we start off with, we don't have their graphics yet. They're supposed to get them to us hopefully by today. Route 66 Cannabis Company. You guys asked for a company out in the West County area, the St. Charles area. Well, we have one now. We loved our relationship with Greenlight. Greenlight was going in a different approach, more urban when it comes to their marketing. So we have hooked up with Route 66. We'll continue those Wednesday segments. Tomorrow we've got their owner on. So we will be talking with him tomorrow about all kinds of products when it comes to cannabis throughout the state of Missouri. This is Cancel This, CancelTheShow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. Pro Joe in the house training Greg. That's Greg LaRock, who we'll call him over there. He's taking care of the boards today.
LaRock.
When it comes to technical, I know I'm an idiot with this kind of stuff, guys.
Me too.
For our listeners, our viewers, and for Joe and Greg, how the hell can we have interviews on our podcast, literally people that are 10 minutes away from the studio, and it sounds like they're in a bunker somewhere in Africa. And then today we have a live interview from Jordan, and Helen's shot was one of the best shots and sounded amazing.
She sounded great.
It all boils down to the quality of the camera and the microphone that they're using. Yesterday, I forget the guy's name.
Steven Chalowitz was amazing yesterday.
He had a headset on, and it sounded like garbage.
Yeah, no, it didn't sound as good as this, but it's because of the headset, I'm assuming.
Right. The headset is never a way to go if you're doing this.
Well, you know what? I apologize. He asked me in advance. He's like, would a headset be all right? I said, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, so I learned something.
That shows you what I know.
Yes. It is true. You're so right. You can watch our show or anyone else's show, and you can tell what kind of equipment they have on the other end because they sound like they're right here.
Also, if you got a chance, Greg, to pull up our website, feel free. I don't want to push you too hard on that standpoint, but we also encourage you to check out our website. You can see all of our, when I talk about inventory, our shows, our library of shows. A lot of that can be watched. It can be viewed again. I mean, every show we have on there, you can send it out. You can let people know about that if there was a topic that somebody needs to know about. And also, when you go to our front page at canceltheshow.com, you can click on the blue merch button and it takes you to our website. Yes, we have merchandise. We appreciate people buying. We've had people buying hats, shirts. We've had people buying our different variety of cups. We've got all kinds of cups all over the place. You name it, different colors. And we've got American Legacy coffee now. Organic coffee that supports not only Cancel This, but veterans all across the country. We introduced you to Nick Mathena last week, Army military member, trying to do what he can. A love of coffee, a love of the military, and it's a great match with Cancel This as well. So when you get a chance, check it out, and you can let us and just jump in there. We also have local delivery as well. Inside Out Custom Designs with Derek Pratt. If you need any sort of marketing, any sort of advertising done, don't go anywhere until you talk to Derek first. Check him out online, Inside Out Custom Designs. Derek takes care of our site. We get that through Shopify, and so far so good. We appreciate it. No, we do not deliver to the UK. Unfortunately, I know we have listeners all across this country and across the world, but it would be great. Maybe Derek can let me know how to respond to you, or Derek can respond to you as well when it comes to getting information.
It's Derek. If anybody can do it, it's Derek.
Once again, just giving you a headline. Deborah Matthias, a Missouri woman, she was shot and killed in Israel. One of the 11 Americans that we know that is dead from Boone County. Another massive subject that has come up now, and we'll continue to follow. You know how Joe Biden, by the way, can show support, freeze the $6 billion to Iran right now. Freeze it. Do you know what the Iranian government thinks of America? Greg, you can load that video when you get a chance. If you think Iran's government is, everything's fine in America, this scares the shit out of me as an American. And this is why Iran gets a bad rap when you see these murders taking place. Literally, these are Iranian lawmakers, and I know they don't have much of a government, but this is Iran right here.
Here it is.
Or maybe not. You guys tell me when we're ready, and then we'll go ahead and do that. So basically, you've got Iran. They don't support America.
No.
Just like all those illegals that run into the country, death to America as they come into our country. Oh, they need a loving place to go. Yeah, maybe some of them, but not all of them. Not all of them as well. No, you didn't see it yet. Sorry, Donna. We were going to go. We're training this new guy. That's Greg LaRock. And we'll get that video lined up for you when we get a shot here about what Iran is doing. And hey, if we don't have it, I'll move on. That's cool. Just let me know. What do you guys think? Okay, we'll move on. Don't worry about it. We'll just head on. So what you've got is lawmakers shouting death to America, death to America, death to America. If you think for a second we can trust any of these governments,
nope,
for a variety of reasons. And once again, media doesn't always cover it. America has meddled and done a lot of bad stuff throughout this world. Oh, you want to show it? Okay, go ahead and show it.
Good.
Let's get now to CNN Fred Pleitgen.
Can you believe that? Yes. We're giving these people $6 billion as they treat us to America.
That's awful. That is so awful. And
hey, Joe. Hey, Obama. Hey, somebody in the White House. Freeze the funding. Hey, Schumer. Schumer's on his way to China.
Unreal.
To try to get China, Chuck Schumer, that is, to try to get China to back Israel. And we just gave $6 billion to Iran. None of it adds up. None of it makes sense.
None of it. None of it. You can't make sense of any of it. Not one bit of it, because there's no rhyme or reason for our country. There's none. And the number one reason most of us like Trump was because we wanted our country to be first. We wanted it to be protected. We want to feel safe. And they're doing anything but that. Good old Chucky Schumer. That is one evil little twerp.
Eric says, and of course, we're a live podcast, TV, audio. We appreciate when you guys jump in. We'll try to take your comments as best as we possibly can. Todd says, yeah, maybe Obama can fly some more cash over there. By the way, one of the last things Obama did as president was give billions to Iran. Just remember that. Eric says, I say take the fight to Iran. If they want war, we'll give it to them. He says, send down the Star Wars program Trump started. Remember, Space Force, Trump started there. You go to Trump to finish what Reagan started. That space program will destroy the Middle East. Is that what we need? Is that what we want? I mean, we know there's innocent people in the Middle East. That's what makes it all difficult.
It is. Nobody wants to see any women and children die, or men, or anyone. The humanity of this is so awful.
The evil people
are
alongside the
evil.
good people.
You betcha.
And that's why you can't just, quote, drop bombs to take out evil people. I mean, Israel did come out and say, and this upset our guest, Helen, you better get out of Gaza because we're coming to bomb it. Well, where are we supposed to go? Now, her perspective, the Palestinian perspective is, okay, yeah, where are we supposed to go? Her perspective was they know that there's nowhere we can go.
Right.
And then, of course, Israel is going to respond. Yeah, it's a big mess. And Jeannie says, Trump told us the truth. Iraq was not the problem. He said Iran was the problem, not Iraq. And of course, we all know what happened with all those alleged weapons of mass destruction. Thank you, George Bush, Karl Rove. Hey, remember Anthony Blinken said that money won't be spent on anything but humanitarian efforts. Yes, Chris, it's actually technically, it can't be, you can't pull the money out of an account unless it goes to humanitarian aid. But the problem we said earlier is the fact, if you know you're not going to have to spend $6 billion on your humanitarian aid because you've got it in the bank, you can take $6 billion that you have now, put it towards an attack, go take your $6 billion out of the bank and put it into your humanitarian fund. Just like that. That's the problem. That's what we have here. DRC says Nostradamus told us also the end of time. You go. And Aaron says they have ports and airports. Would her beloved Jordan not take them? And Pam says, I'm speaking of Star Wars. Yes, we know what you were speaking of with that. We appreciate the update there. This is cancelthisshow.com. When it comes to politics, this has become mainstream. We're not talking about Biden anymore. Even Trump's trial at the end of Trump in court. His legal team is allegedly in court today. He is not going to be there. But now the big news from a political standpoint in America, RFK Jr. RFK Jr. is running 100% officially as an independent. News
Yes.
leaked of this last week, got a lot of headlines, people getting excited, people talking about all those things that were happening. And now you have RFK coming into the mix. Is it going to be something that makes headlines? Is he going to be able to get votes? Is he going to be able to pull enough percentage to make an impact on whoever the Democratic candidate would be?
I would hope
Would it
so.
affect Republicans or Democrats? I know last week you thought it would affect Democrats more.
Yes, I thought him taking the votes away from Joe Biden or whoever it is, Gavin Newsom or whatever, I think that's good for Republicans that he's running. I think it will help the Republican Party that he runs, because it's certainly, he doesn't have much to gain by it, RFK. I think he's genuinely, I don't agree with a lot of his policies, but I would vote for him over any other Democrat for sure. But that being said, he is really good in the fact that he has to go up against so much opposition, even his own siblings. You know, he's like one of 11 siblings, and they are now saying that what he's doing is dangerous to the country, and they don't agree with it because it goes against their dad's morals and values and all of that.
Their dad was nothing like the Democratic Party now.
Correct. And I'm thinking, you know, he was like, I think he was like, what, 12 or 13 when his dad, was murdered. So I literally think that he does know what his dad's morals and values, because the 4 siblings that are really going after him are younger than him, who didn't even know what their dad's morals and values were. So I think he's, standing up for a lot of really good things for America.
He's an environmental lawyer. Anti-vax all the way.
Yep.
Anti-cupcake through and through. That's how he became popular.
Yes. That's why people
What
knew
separated
who he was.
him from other Democratic candidates? He was against a cupcake.
Yep, he sure was.
And he called it out. That's where like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because we all know that COVID, whether you like it or not, became a red-blue issue. It was made that way. It's just a fact it was. Of course, he's being ripped by Democrats. He's being ripped by his family. I don't think there's a base for him yet to be a serious contender.
I agree.
But especially with a Trump in the mix. But, I really hoped and thought that he could, if Trump could win. But but see, here's what I'm talking on both sides of my mouth. Do I think our establishment is going to allow Donald Trump to be president? No, I don't.
I'm praying that.
Do I? I know.
I'm praying for it, though.
Do I feel Joe Biden is going to run? No, I don't. I still feel like there's a lot to take place.
Yeah, we still have a long time.
And then we have a lot of listeners who feel there won't even be a normal election.
And that could be why this war is all going on too, to put Joe Biden in wartime, and we get involved in this war so that he stays in, or whoever they appoint stays in. And so there is no election. And that sounds bizarre, but look what they did to our 2020 election. There's nothing these evil uniparty people will not do to stop Donald Trump and being in there. There's nothing. They'll even murder people, and have.
Well, in primary polling, RFK Jr. has about 14% support on average. So critics say that his polling dropped noticeably among the Democratic Party voters once they got to know Kennedy more because of his skepticism on the cupcake.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yeah.
They said that was where Democratic voters started to go away from him, but it's also where Republican voters who might have been on the cusp said, you know what, maybe I would give him a chance. A small group, but that's where he started to get some of that polling.
Correct.
It's also interesting because he's 69. He's in great shape. He's a good speaker. He's clearly intelligent. He and Trump have shown support for one another.
Yeah. The ideal thing would be that.
And respect.
Yes.
Not just support, but respect.
Respect. The ideal thing would be Trump would be the president, and then RFK, even though I don't believe with everything, I don't believe everything both of them said, but I think the missing component for a lot of people is the whole vax thing, where people felt that Trump wasn't right on that. The two of them are not wanted by either of their party, either of the uniparty. They are pro-America. That would be a miracle, because it's not going to happen, but I hope I'm so wrong. That would be just so
Well,
great.
if he runs, I mean, yeah, it's fine. It brings another person to the table, whether media covers it or not, that has some not so crazy, hardcore, left-leaning strategies to talk about. And he's not bought and paid for. as far as we see so far, like Trump isn't.
Correct.
Then the media would be forced to have to cover him. And who knows? Maybe there's a deal behind the scenes.
Well, and
because
Robert's
we
saying
haven't
they're
seen
friends.
RFK Jr. attacking Trump, and Trump hasn't attacked him. And the one thing I've noticed with Donald Trump, hey, if you treat him with respect,
he gives it back.
He's going to give it back.
Mm-hmm.
If you fuck with him, he is going to fuck back 10 times as hard.
He is a counterpuncher.
I
like people like that, though. I like people like that.
It's just
that they're not going to mess with you first. You know, my husband is
I know
like
somebody
that, and I'm
like
like
that
too. I will be nice to people. I never start a fight. But if you come after me, you're going to lose. I mean, and that's the truth. You will lose. And that's how he is. I don't think Trump goes after people until they've done something to him, and then he's going to counterpunch. And I like people. We all should be like that. Don't mess with anybody. But once you mess with your family or whatever, we're going to take you down.
DRC says, amen to that. FAFO.
Mm-hmm.
I think, do we have a shirt? If Derek's listening.
Yeah, we have a shirt.
I think we have a shirt. FAFO.
We do.
Anyway,
we need to both wear that, you mess with us, we're going to F you up.
No. Mary says, turn the other cheek. I know, Mary, I'm trying to get more like that too.
Well, I think you should turn it the first time. I don't think you just go after somebody first, but if you keep turning it and turning it and turning it, you have a free will.
I know.
And so your free will, you're going to get pounced.
You're supposed to forgive 7 times 70.
Okay, but once the 8th time happens, your ass is grass.
Damn, I like you, Lizzie. Well, Aaron says that's wrong. He went after RD before he even announced a presidential candidacy. He went after Ron DeSantis, but he didn't go after Donald Trump. I haven't seen him go after Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And they are friends. And that's what's interesting.
That is interesting. That mix would be fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, and then Kevin's saying Trump should be the president. RFK should be the vice president. Ronnie Sanctimonious should be the Speaker of the House. That is great. I like it. I like that, Kevin.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be the best America?
I'd still love a female. And I'm sorry.
There's a lot of good females.
RFK Jr. I'm not trying to get caught up in the hype, but I would rather see a Kristi Noem who is
I like her
from
too.
That standpoint.
Yep. But don't be one of those people that just pick the woman because we need a minority or a woman there.
No, but her perspective.
I like hers and Carrie Lake's.
That's why.
I like Carrie Lake too.
I'd put Carrie Lake number 2 right behind her just because she doesn't have the experience that Kristi has.
That is true. That is true.
That's why. But we can all.
But I'm going with Kevin on this one. I like that. I'm going with Kevin. Trump, RFK, and Sanctimonious.
So it's something else in the news world that we can try to talk about. I started the show off by saying this. It just really pisses me off because colleges and a college, we've all talked about this. Okay. We've got to figure out how to revamp colleges and stop these decision makers from stopping free speech at college campuses or free speech that they don't like. Case in point, Penn State University. Where are the people that are going to put the outrage up that Riley Gaines had a speech scheduled for Penn State University? Well, you have some of these minority groups that come out, start yelling, oh, she is mean, she's hurtful, she's against the LGBTQ community.
Stop.
We don't want her here, blah, blah, blah. So Penn State caves like the wussies they are and cancels her speech.
Yeah, give me
this
a
at Penn
break.
State University. What has Riley Gaines said that is false? What has she said that is hateful outside of defending girls?
Right.
Defending girls so they don't have to swim
Yes.
or compete against biological males. But Penn State University caves into the pressure. They're afraid that these little groups were going to put so much pressure on them and try to cancel them that they canceled her speech. Now, if there was enough people that cared to go after Penn State, they could probably do something about this. I just wish there was an opportunity for Riley Gaines or for other people to go after Penn State. This was labeled Real Woman's Day. And Penn State University is showing that they're sexist against women.
Real Woman Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, she had a social media movement called October 10th, Real Women's Day. The date in Roman numerals. This is awesome. Great marketing. X/X, which is the chromosome pairing of biological females.
Love it. Love it.
10 with the Roman numerals. It's brilliant. However, Gaines posted on Twitter last night that the school canceled her speech. They canceled it. It's sad because what happened was she posted a video of the Penn State president. Her name is Neely Bendapati. She was explaining that as a public university, the school is bound by the First Amendment to bring in speakers that many will consider controversial, either because their views are not widely held or because a speaker espouses ideas that are actively hateful. But she said there's also a second moral reason. Higher education has fought against censorship, believing that the best way to combat bad ideas is with better ideas. She says this in a video. And then she says, quote, restricting the speech of one group or individual jeopardizes everyone's rights because the same laws or regulations used to silence bigots can be used to silence you. But then the school president later explained that the school supports those who wish to protest against those speakers. So with that video in her pocket, Gaines called out the school seemingly in an about face because she said that's why she was supposed to be there. But then they canceled. They told her they canceled. So she's going to be out at Penn State University today with a megaphone.
Good for her.
She says, no way the president of Penn State makes an entire video explaining why public institutions are legally obligated to let, quote, bigots, apparently like me, back on campus to speak, then proceeds to cancel my speech tomorrow for Real Women's Day.
Unreal.
Have it your way. See you tomorrow with a soapbox and a megaphone. Penn State, exclamation point. So this president, this female president, total loser, total bigot herself. She's sexist, not allowing Riley Gaines to speak after saying everything she did about First Amendment rights. How can you have a college campus without having First Amendment rights?
Yeah,
if anybody's ever been on a college campus, you're going to know quickly. You find out there are differences of opinion, and everybody should be able to express them, including Riley Gaines. All because of transgender athletes. I mean, this is some serious evil going on when your free speech is being canceled by Penn State University. Yeah, I'd love, Derek says, get Gaines on cancel this. I'd like to. She's been super busy.
She has been, and she got, and her place got back to me about 2 weeks ago that she was doing things like this and that we're on a list. We're, not as high as some other people, but she has been called by our show.
DRC says remove the libtard degrees. Sherry Adams reminds us that Riley Gaines scored $8 million off Whoopi defamation suit, 0 from mainstream media, because the mainstream media refused to cover it. That's what mainstream media does.
Yep.
Renee Harris says, yeah, and it's not just about swimming against males acting like females, which is what they are. These are males acting like females.
Correct.
It's also about being forced to share locker rooms with guys with junk.
Yeah.
Literally, it sounds stupid. It sounds crazy. It sounds dirty and everything else.
But that is what it is.
That's what happened. Leah Thomas was sharing locker rooms with women, pulling down the one-piece Speedo and had a biological part hanging.
I can't even imagine one of my daughters going in the
women,
locker room and seeing the guy over there with junk. What does your face do?
Yeah. Jody says the First Amendment is for the left only, apparently. That's what happens. Aaron says that's the left's MO. Now get the institutions to do the bidding so they don't face a Supreme Court constitutional challenge. It so frustrates me that these presidents are so worried about getting canceled that they go back on their words and they're more willing to make themselves look like complete idiots because this woman, this president at Penn State should be fired immediately for coming out and making a video about why Riley Gaines and First Amendment rights should be accepted on college campuses. And then she goes back on it. Her name is Neely Bendapudi. Neely Bendapudi. I want to talk about a moron.
Mhm.
And I say a moron in regards to her way of doing this.
Yeah.
Because she first came out and tried to protect the speech because it's First Amendment and it's a college campus, so she has half a brain at least, but then is afraid if she does it, what's going to happen to her.
Mm-mm-mm.
Riley Gaines, continue to rock, girl, because you're doing everything the way it should be done. And you're not being racist. You're not being sexist. You're not being hurtful to anybody. And this is the evil that exists in the world, to think that you can force a man into a woman's event and the women have to accept it. What happened for all this love and respect of women?
Mm-hmm. That's the irony.
And this is a woman screwing over a woman. And it's because of politics.
Yes. Yes, it's all about politics, because women often are the meanest to women. That's not always the case, but it's true. That woman wants to act like women's rights, and then she canceled her. It's
I'd
all
be so
about
embarrassed
politics.
if I was a Penn State University student.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Where's the outrage from the student body?
They don't care.
Well, they're college kids.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean,
talking to college kids is even so different than even talking to someone that's right out of college a year or two. Their brains come back. In college, they just don't have any. I mean, and I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm sure I didn't have any brains when I was in college either. But that's where you have to prepare your kids, because they go brainless into college, and their brains that you've tried to fill with goodness gets just dumped upon with this wackadoodle stuff.
Yeah, this woman, Neely Bendapudi, she was the school's 19th president. She's of Indian descent. She grew up in India her entire life. Oh, I figured out the problem. She got her doctorate from Kansas.
Well, that's it.
Figure.
That's it. Now you figured it.
I'm messing with my Kansas people. There's a little rivalry between Missouri and Kansas. I bet our viewers and listeners might get a kick out of that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Unfortunately, there's probably a whole lot of academics,
Yep.
just like
Damians.
her at Mizzou.
Oh, they're like that. I remember years ago, way back in the 80s.
I'm trying to read her bio as I talk.
Yeah. Even in the 80s, I remember my dad saying, when you go to college, look at your professor and nod. Don't believe a damn thing he says, because all these college professors are just dumb. Get your degree, get out, and don't be like them. That's what you got to tell your kids.
Renee says, so much for Title IX. Great point.
Yeah.
Where's the respect? Where's the support for women? This isn't the first time that Riley Gaines has had problem at universities. Penn State's a big university. And the fact that she had been booked and allowed, and then that freaking president had a video out about why we have to be respectful of people's opinions that we don't like. And then the mob got to her.
Yeah. Yeah. The mob is going to keep coming after her, because
I never said Mizzou was right wing, Aaron.
No, it's not right wing. No colleges are right wing.
And Troy says that's sad, Liz.
Yeah, that is sad.
It is, unfortunately. So there's some of the things that occur. There's some things that happen. What was there? Was there something else that we're supposed to get to? I can't remember before we get out. I get so caught up in all the.
No, I think we covered.
I couldn't
all
remember
of it
if there was one thing
to probably a nauseum. But I mean, we did. I mean, there's so much stuff going on, and before everybody leaves, and I think our audience is like that. But you've got to tell people, keep your head on a swivel these days, make good choices, and my opinion is keep God right in the center of what you're doing.
We do want to. Do we have our Patriots list, by the way? Can we show our Patriots list? Do we have that somewhere? I know we didn't talk about that, but I would love to show. And here's one of the things: we love it when you guys support us. And if we had something else, if we had a to-do list, was this the only to-do list we had, Joe? Was to name the Cancel This Patriots, or Lizzie?
No, I think that was it.
Call to actions.
Yeah,
okay,
that's it.
You know a lot of these people because
I do.
You want to read the list?
I do.
And why? And we've got them on again. Why?
Well, we have a list every week, and we need to be better about putting it up every week, but they are compiled by our marketing department based on a plethora of things, going on one or more of our platforms, commenting, donating, doing, maybe buying merchandise. It's a combination of all of it. And you don't have to buy anything. It's just literally, we appreciate that, but it's literally being on the platforms. And it's not just Facebook, it's listening afterwards. And so a lot of these people I know, I see a former neighbor on there, I see former friends, but all of the people on this list are true patriots on here. All of them. You want me to read the list?
Sure.
So we have Jessica Dalton. Her name is Jessie, Lisa Kemp, and we really appreciate her being on the show. Like, she just impromptu was on the show. That'll get you right. If you want to actually be on the show, come in here. That'll get you on the list right away. So we love our listeners to be on the show. There's Victor Joseph, Donna Greiner, and Eric. And Eric, he's been my Facebook friend for a long time. Long time.
And Victor Joseph is not me. That's
I know who that is.
Okay.
That's So we probably should clear that up, because a lot of people say, "Hey, did you know Vic likes all of your stuff like while the show's going on?" And I'm like, "No, that's his dad." So Victor Joseph is Vic Faust's daddy.
Yeah, he's retired.
And tell him retired from where?
What do you mean?
Well, what did he do?
Oh, he did a lot of things. He was an officer.
He was a
worked
police
for
officer.
Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, see, he did really good things. He's a true patriot, by the way. He's very proud of his son, but he's also a true patriot.
And there's hope for people, because he's a former, and he may hate me saying this, but at one point in time, he voted for Obama.
But a lot of patriots voted for Obama.
He was a union member too, though.
Yeah. So I understand the first time you voted for Obama, because we could see all the Republicans were awful. There was no good choices to vote against Obama. I mean, think about who that was. Good old Mitt and John McCain. I mean, neither one of them were good choices. And the Republicans, we knew that they were not good. We had the Bushes. So we forgive the people for voting Obama the first time. I didn't. Just to let you know, I never voted for
Sorry,
Obama.
I didn't mean to get you off the list. We still have that list, the other
Could
names.
you put the list back up? Put the list back up. Okay, very good. So there's Tammy Rendelman, Paula Brandon, Jason Morrow, Susan Zimmer, and Brenda Eckert.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for jumping in with us and letting us know what kind of stories, what kind of comments you have. That's part of the live broadcast. You can always get us, of course, at canceltheshow.com. We're serious about the advertisers or anybody sponsoring the studio. If you have stories, interviews, ideas, contact us. Let us know so we can get more of that stuff in. I'm trying to remember. We had a good topic that I wanted to jump into tomorrow. Damn. What is it? I know we've got something good coming up tomorrow. I wrote it down, but I can't.
It's so good. It's a secret. Yeah, exactly. It's a secret. Come in and find out what Vic's secret is tomorrow.
We'll go. We're going to dive into that again. I got to figure out what it is.
And no, it's not that he's going to come in here dressed as a woman.
No. Pro Joe and Greg LaRock. Nice job today, guys. We appreciate it. Special thanks to Helen Quaisi joining us live from Jordan for her perspective from a Palestinian standpoint. Lizzie Sparks, as always, and I'm Vic Faust. Guys, thanks for jumping in with canceltheshow.com. That does it for the podcast for October 10th. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow.